Good morning, everyone. I am Trey with the First Date Fix, and today we're going to be talking about communication and first dates. So after all, this is the First Date Fix, and someone politely reminded me that I don't always talk about things in regards to first dates. So thank you to that randomer that called me out. And I hope you're looking forward to what I'm about to discuss today. Communication can sometimes be awkward when you know nothing about that person. I'm here to make sure you are not crap at communication, because some of you are. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Because if there's one thing we've learned throughout this pandemic is that domestic abuse, unfortunately, did go up. Divorce rates went up significantly, 33%, if you really want to know. And generally, people realize that they don't really have a lot to stand on in regards to their marriage or long-term relationship. So a lot of people broke up, which is why communication is so important. Because no matter what happens, no matter how many fancy dates or dinners or movie plexes or sporting events or, pumpkin patch picking, Christmas tree buying, no matter what you do, if you cannot have good communication with that person that you're interested in, the relationship or dating scenario amounts to nothing, okay? Now, for those of you who are just looking to hook up or have friends with benefits, don't watch this video because you guys don't care. And to be quite honest, when you do care, you'll come to me in my DMs. So that's great. But yes, let's talk about communication. When you go on a first date, you essentially want to know as much as you possibly can about that person. Now, I know the counter argument is going to be, but Trey, if I know everything by the first date, I'm not going to have anything else to talk about on the second date. What? No! You never really know every single aspect of a human being that you're romantically interested in. But if you're going to be pursuing them and making more time for them potentially in the future, you must know things that will essentially get them through the door in your life and vice versa for them if you give them a chance to talk. The first thing I would say is, number one, listen. Listening is very, very important because people often talk themselves into the truth, whether they like it or not. I know there's a big thing about people holding back who they are for not being vulnerable, keeping things very surface level because they don't want to let anyone in. Heaven forbid someone gets to know them, right? But in reality, you want to do as much listening as you possibly can because you want to see if that person aligns with your values, your paradigms, how you see the world, what you'd like to accomplish, who you are as an individual. Because no matter what happens, the only thing that you really want from that person is to accept you for you on your best day and accept you for you on your worst day from time to time. So listening is huge. And how do you enable yourself to listen to someone on a first date? You ask questions, and good questions. Let me give you some crap questions and then I'll give you some good questions. Crap questions. What's your favorite color? How many siblings do you have? Do you like New York City? Do you like LA? Do you like Columbus, Ohio? Do your parents live around here? Oh, what the? I can't play with you now. The thing's on. Can't play with you now, buddy. Oh God. He has made me lose my train of thought. Let me grab my notes. Okay, we're back. More crappy questions. Long story short, if you can imagine yourself asking these questions to someone in an elevator, this isn't sexy, this isn't turning anyone on anytime soon, and it's very, 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 very surface level. Now, if you're really uncomfortable not divulging those deep, dark secrets or vulnerable questions and answers about yourself, then maybe you shouldn't be dating, quite frankly. Like if someone generally tries to understand your soul and who you are on the first date and that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you shouldn't be dating, because at the end of the day, those people who are successful and have successful monogamous relationships and dating scenarios are the people who are willing to just put themselves out there. Because ultimately that's what this is about. It's about you kind of expressing yourself. And if you can't express yourself with someone who you're potentially looking to date, then either one, you have to take a hard look at yourself and analyze what you want, or you have to force yourself to be far more open to possibilities. Put both feet in the boat and sail away, baby. Some good questions you can ask. What are you looking for right now? Now, I know it's a cliche, and I know everyone asks that question, online dating, texts, face-to-face, whatever. But if you don't know what they're looking for, you could be wasting time that you will never get back. Again, if you're trying to hook up, fine, this doesn't mean anything to you. But if you are generally looking for a sincere connection, you have to ask what that person's looking for. I don't care how cliched it is. I don't care how boring that question is. You need to know, okay? What are they looking for? Also, what attributes do you like in a partner, in a boyfriend or a girlfriend? What makes a good boyfriend or girlfriend to you? What do you like about dating? What do you like about being in a relationship? You know, what passions do you have outside of work? You know, I don't mind when people talk about work, but I just feel like life has far deeper meaning as opposed to your 9 to 5. So deep dive into someone's passions and let them really just go off into a tangent about how much they love that passion. You're gonna have such a good understanding of who that person is when they're rifling off about why they love painting so much. What an incredible accomplishment that would be if you had that on the first date. And a list of many more questions. My point being is that you want to be as positive, influential, and in-depth with these questions that you ask these people. Now, you could turn around and say, Trey, I don't want to scare these people off. I don't want to be too deep. I don't want to be intrusive. Look, if you're trying to go on a first date for a potential relationship, maybe a partner, maybe even a marriage, and you can't ask those questions and you're not comfortable with it, then number one, don't date that person. And number two, maybe you need to toughen up a bit. Like, you know, don't be so scared of asking questions that you probably want to know about. There should be no rules when you can and can't ask these questions. High risk, high reward. That is life, baby. If you ask a question such as, what are you looking for right now? And someone turns around and says, I'm not really sure. And you don't like that answer because you're generally looking for a relationship. There's a few things you can do with this. One, you can just assume they don't really know what they want and it's a waste of your time. Like if someone's a grown-ass person at a certain age and they still don't really know what they want, then, you know, let them fly off with the birds and find someone who does. Or you could dig deeper and say, when you say you don't really know what you want, do you at least have, you know, do you have some sort of idea in the future where you'd like to be, or are you just kind of playing it by ear? And, you know, all of those things. Like if people can't give you a genuine answer to that, I feel like it's a waste of time, because what they really want, they're not willing to tell you, which we all know what that is. And again, if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. But for the most part, you know, people who don't know what they want but find themselves on online dating apps, it's very, very tricky. Because if you didn't know what you want, then you probably wouldn't be in the online dating app anyway. But you went on there because you had a good idea of what you could get. Like, people need to stop playing coy, okay? We know, you know what 50% of people are looking for in an online dating app, if not more. But don't try and play like you're on there and you don't know what you want. You're either on there for a friends with benefits, a straight up hookup, potential relationship because you're a bit skeptical of online dating, or you've seen someone who's been successful with it in the past and it's what you would like, okay? But don't play games, okay? And make sure the person that you're talking to isn't playing any games either. What do you do if you're in a situation and someone gives one word, 2-word questions? I've been on dates where there was a lady who said she was a nurse. And I said to her, do you feel like having a job like that allows you to grow internally as a person as well as professionally? You know what she said to me? She said, I don't like those kind of questions. So I said, okay, that's fair. Well, let's see what you got. Ask me a few questions. And she goes, oh, I guess I don't really know what to say. That's literally what she said. I gave it 5 minutes to just be polite, and I said, all right, well, thanks for coming out. It was like 20 minutes into the date. But I had a long day at work and I just did not have time to squeeze blood out of a stone, okay? If two people have gone out of their way to meet each other for a first date, you owe it to that person to be your best self and answer as honestly and vulnerably as you can. And if you can't do that, don't go on a first date. Ultimately, when you're on a first date, you want to do your best communication. You want to be an incredible listener. you want to make sure that you are restating what they have said to you. So if someone turns around and says to me, yeah, I decided to start dating again because I got out of a long-term relationship 6 months ago, and I feel like I'm ready to kind of see what's out there, but I'm a bit nervous because dating is kind of brutal right now. I would respond and say, okay, so what you're saying is you had some time to find yourself, to figure out who you really are and what you wanted. You're a bit skeptical because maybe your friends have told you some horror stories, and the internet's nuts, but you're brave enough to just come out here with a stranger like me and kind of give it a shot. Boom. It really is that simple, and that comes with listening. Restating is everything because you're showing that person that you are a good listener. And basic things like complimenting the person is great communication. So if someone turns around and says, yeah, I graduated from my psychology degree about 2 months ago, you turn around and you say, well, fantastic, that's awesome news. How did you feel when you graduated? And there's going to be two kinds of people. Somebody says, good, there's not much you could do on that. Or someone that says, I felt incredible, it was such a great accomplishment, I spent 4 years doing that. And then you could turn around and say, yeah, I know, like when I went to college it was blah blah blah. It really is that simple. But unfortunately, when it comes to trying to have good communication, sometimes there are some in-betweeners, but for the most part, you're either going to get someone who's, who can match your communication level, or someone who's going to try and match your communication level, which is the sweet spot, or someone who just, number one, doesn't care to, number two, is happy with you carrying the conversation, and number three, just isn't really ready to have an adult, I want to get to know you as well as you want to get to know me communication. And I love the idea of just going to a coffee shop or to the most mundane first date ever, because the only thing you have are your wits and your conversation skills, because that is what makes a fantastic relationship. And if you don't have that, then the only thing you have is those Instagram pictures that you post for likes. And to be quite honest, that does not make a good communicator. If you don't work on your communication skills when it comes to dating, the only thing you're going to have is a pretty face. And unfortunately, looks fade. Stupid is forever. I have to believe that most people who subscribe or follow me know for a fact that it's not all about looks and are generally trying to develop their communication skills. I try and work on them every week of my life, because the more you can communicate, the more connections you can make. The more connections you can make, the closer you can get to the love of your life, the closer you can get to incredible friends, and the more you can be a great support for your family. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a lovely morning.